We work with John 3:16 mission every year to help the homeless in our community. And one year I realized I had to be honest with myself, and I didn't really understand the plight of the homeless. And so I thought, what would it be like if I experienced some of it? I obviously couldn't experience the full scope of it, but what if I went out on the street, stayed out on the street, and experienced what it felt like to be a man on the street with no friends, no food, nothing to, in a sense of any kind of valuables, no home to go to, no car, phone, or anything like that. And maybe that would give me a little bit more of an awareness of these people out on the streets. What was I feeling? I was scared. I was genuinely scared and frightened, because I knew I was entering an environment that I have never experienced before. And it was interesting, I had talked about it before, but now it was the effect of someone opening the door and saying, well, why don't you just walk in there and shut the door behind you? And we'll let your words kind of lay low for a while and you can just experience it. So I was genuinely, inwardly scared. I was anxious, I was nervous, because I didn't know what I was going to expect. Right away, this was very interesting. Right when I was dropped off, I did sense this. I went into survival mode right away. I thought, shelter, where can I find food? I didn't have any water. I was already thirsty when I was dropped off. Where can I go to the restroom? Where can I find a bathroom? So all of a sudden you start thinking these things, kind of a survivor man scenario already, you know? So that's what I was feeling, just nervous, anxious. I found this huge industrial AC heating unit, and it was massive, filling in this, you know, it was part of a big office. And I hid behind that, and right next to it was a bush. And I found a garbage bag that I used as a sleeping bag. And so I climbed inside the garbage bag to try to kind of trap my body heat, because it was kind of chilly that night. And it was around 11:30. And I actually fell asleep. I had a brick for a pillow. I fell asleep and I woke up 15 minutes later to two silhouettes standing over me. And I tried as fast as possible to get up, but I couldn't because my legs were trapped in this trash bag. They were two security officers telling me to get up and get the blankety blank off their property. And so that was the only sleep I got that night, 15 minutes of sleep. And then I went to the Greyhound bus station. I got kicked out of there within a half an hour. Then I found a corner of another building. It was a dark corner. I purposely wanted to find a dark corner so no one could see me. And it was like that. I found an empty dumpster, a brand new dumpster that had been placed by a new construction site. Went in there, but that was just a metal box, cold, and it wasn't working at all. And then I was scared that, well, if I actually fall asleep in here, what's going to come down on top of me in the morning? I don't know. So just constant paranoia of you could never rest. You can never fully rest. My first obvious thought was, I don't know how they do it. I just didn't understand how a human could be reduced to this kind of existence. And what was interesting is I felt less than human. As a homeless person, no one wanted to look me in the eye. I've never experienced that before. It was very interesting. I felt like I was a speed bump in their existence. Just get out of my way. I don't want to acknowledge you. The only time I was ever greeted with a friendly greeting was from a dog. And I'll never forget that, because I'll just be honest, I was already lonely. After the first day and night, I'm like, the sense of loneliness and despair. I just wanted, what was amazing is, the biggest thing I missed wasn't a down pillow or a mattress or even a cheeseburger, it was human contact. You are so isolated and cut off from human contact, and you can feel it, you can feel it pulsing from society. Don't get near me, don't touch me, and I'd really prefer that you not even look at me. I'm telling you, that was really cool, because I've been to the mission before, but I've never been to the mission in need. And I saw it in a whole new light. It was an oasis. I mean, it was the hands and feet of God. Simple as that. You walk in and there's friendly faces greeting you, and And I noticed my fellow homeless people, as I call them, we were all in the waiting room, you know, being processed or whatever you would call it. And I noticed all of them laughing. They were happy. There was a communal sense of relief that we had a place to go to, and that we were going to be accepted and not turned away. And they understood our plight. And so, oh, it was just incredible. And I got to that meal. That meal was just awesome. and then you know, they have showers and beds or mattresses on the floor, and it didn't matter. It was just nice to be inside and protected and acknowledged. That's it. I was protected, I was wanted and acknowledged, I was fed and taken care of, and then even more so, I felt their concern for me, and I could see their concern for the men who were homeless, a deep concern for their spiritual well-being as well as physical. Really cool. Obviously, I can't say I know what it means to be homeless, but it did open my eyes to the reality that this is not just something you chuck a $5 bill at and say, all is well. These are actual human beings, but by the grace of God, there go I. That was another thing too. Some of these men that I met, one homeless guy was still in his business suit, the same suit he left with from the corporate world. He just was tired and done. And met some guys who obviously had some mental challenges that they were dealing with. But other people, I met a woman on the street who she said her home is the street, because when she goes home to her husband, her ex-husband, she's treated worse there than on the street. And so these people, they have stories. That's what's so amazing. They have stories, and they have children. They have children, and children that are grown. And some of the homeless men I met were even grandfathers. And here they are. They're actual people with loved ones and families. And some of these families have kicked them out, and some of these families are praying that they would come back, but they're unable to come back because of certain addictions that they can't overcome on their own or whatever. And so here we all are, this collection of humanity, and all of a sudden you see that the ultimate thing we all need and want is to be loved, to be understood, to be listened to, and to be acknowledged that you are worth something. Set aside the idea that a homeless person is a project. Set aside the idea that your goal is to get them into a place that you call healthy. I usually want a homeless person off the street so I don't feel uncomfortable anymore. That's what I want. I want to put you in better clothes and a better home, and then I'll spend time with you. Well, that's not the answer. The answer is go spend time with them now. Love them now as they are, and then watch what happens. That's when the transformation occurs. All I wanted on the street was someone to be with me. That's all I wanted. And that's all they want.